Because the man who is running now for APC does not even know half of what Buhari knows about government or national security. If you have the time, I will tell you more about what they are campaigning with as an agenda or as a rhetoric that he did well in Lagos. I will tell you, between 1999 to 2007, if you take out context, he actually performed worse than some governors in Nigeria, because the Lagos that they say he did, he improved the revenue, he only collected tax. All the infrastructure needed for a state or in fact a country to develop was on ground. Lagos used to be the Nigerian national capital. Before Nigeria was formed, Lagos was a colony. You have all the infrastructure for economic development. As what you didn't establish them. There was seaport, there was airport, you have commercial activity, all the embassies are there. So transaction with foreign envoys is in Lagos. All the hotels are there, headquartered in Lagos. All the banks are headquartered in Lagos. All security apparatus, every facility and infrastructure for economic development was in Lagos. He didn't bring them. Asiwaju did not invite or introduce or brought to Lagos any serious foreign investor or domestic investor. And these revenues we are talking about that they claim he has generated, we are on. It's just that the government didn't have the infrastructure in collecting those. So what he did throughout this period was to collect tax. That's what they claim by revenue. And even then, the reason he did that was because the company that was collecting the tax, the company is allegedly traceable to him. So if you pick a man on the street and you tell him, I want you to collect tax in a given area, your percentage is 30%. He will be optimal. He will be highly effective. This is the summary. But let me tell you what he did in Lagos. One, he attempted to destroy democracy. He wanted to introduce what we call monarchical democracy. A democracy that is not reflected by the will and wishes of the people, but reflected by the choice of a man, and people should run around it. He introduced the concept in politics in Nigeria that we call take the queue, follow the queue. He was the only governor in Nigeria that during the period of 7 years, he has had to impeach his deputy governors 3 times and change them. He's the only politician in Nigeria that nobody wins under his tutelage unless the person is chained or positioned by him. You don't win by the popularity that you carry or because you have idea, but whether he has approved you. That is one. 2, the House of Assembly in Lagos throughout his period never had the independence. This is the man you say he promotes democracy. Never had the independence. In fact, when allegedly the drug conviction in Chicago was alleged, to have, happened, and then Gani Fawemi was all over the place that he should be checked, he should be probed, he should be prosecuted. The House of Assembly sat down. They had no business doing that. They said they cleared him. That they did a finding and they cleared him. On what premise? The same Festus Keyamo, who is the spokesman now, went to court around the time to challenge the decision of the House of Assembly. Do I now detour to tell you about Festus Keyamo and Lalong? I was in APC when I was canvassing for vote for Asiwaju. Lalong was doing Amechi, Festus Keyamo was doing Amechi. All the negative narrative that is built in the air against Asiwaju were pushed by Festus Keyamo. They don't believe in Asiwaju. They are just there on contract. Festus Keyamo was the one that peddled the idea that Asiwaju had Pakistan. Festus Keyamo was the one that peddled the idea that Asiwaju had baggages. The worst about Festus Keyamo was that he was even oscillating like a pendulum between the vice president and what do you call him, and Amechi. Suddenly, Festus Keyamo has come to talk about Asiwaju he didn't believe. The greatest mistake Asiwaju has made in constituting his campaign structure was to choose the people that did not and still don't believe in him. That is the tale of their presidential candidate.
Well, they also say that Atiku Abubakar also has baggages.
Like, I wish you can mention that, or I can help you to mention what they've been peddling, which we have debunked that. They said he is corrupt. What's the yardstick for measuring a corrupt person? In Nigerian law, indictment and conviction by a competent court. He has never been indicted. He has never been convicted. I need you to know, Obasanjo investigated Atiku more than any other person in the history of Nigeria. Ribadu at the time was all over the map, fetching evidence, till Obasanjo left government, till successive government took over, until this present time. Atiku has never been invited by the EFCC. So it's a perception held by one man, but let's not trust it to him. When did Obasanjo begin the campaign that Atiku was corrupt? When Atiku foiled the plan for a 3rd term. So we have to look at context. Atiku does not have, but in contrast, Asiwaju has been investigated by EFCC, ICPC, the United States government. So even on the evidence of what they peddle, they don't have anything to say. They came to the issue of Atiku does not have executive power. That's a very important thing. That the governors are more experienced than him. I look at him and I laugh. Why? Because when Atiku was vice president and chairman of the economic committee or economic council, these governors come to him to take notes. Asiwaju came, take notes. He took notes. Peter Obi came, took notes. But let me even escalate the argument further. Gani Faweyimi wrote an article titled Obasanjo the Absentee President. And in Gani's finding, which is a finding that he personally did because he took Obasanjo to court at the time, he came up with this finding that Obasanjo traveled in the first 3 years of the first term 93 times. And for these 93 times, he was away from Nigeria for 240 days. If you multiply 240 days by 30 days, that makes up a month, you have 8 months. For this period, he's been away for 8 months. Atiku Abubakar governed Nigeria as the commander-in-chief, because as an acting president, you're commander. Then they made an argument that, no, there was never a transmission of letters, so he was not acting president. Obasanjo in 2019 said, that's balderdash. I didn't consider it necessary to designate him as an acting president, because my understanding is that once the president is out, the vice president takes the full reins of power. And then look at what Atiku did during this period. These were the period that we introduced policies that opened up our Nigerian economy. Telecom was one. We established critical institutions of government that have now come to become the baseline for the growth and development of a free society.
And you believe that that can still continue from 2023?
He will do better. Imagine Atiku Abubakar at this stage that he didn't need to go to school, had to go to Anglia Ruskin University, an offshoot of Cambridge, to freshen up his mind and obtain a master's degree. The man is ready. When I was about joining him, I was invited to a meeting where experts were brought from abroad to teach his media team on media concept and how to run a campaign. Atiku believes that government should be run like a private enterprise. And let me give you what he meant by private enterprise. To look at it from the point of view of efficiency and effectiveness. The reason why you don't see strike in private universities, you see in public universities, is that in private universities, the people are paid their dues and there is a demand for them to produce, and if they don't, they are going to be fired. In public institutions, nepotism comes, tribalism comes, favoritism comes, the government is lacking behind like this, also not paying them and everything. So efficiency is not there. Atiku believes government should be. Why should a bank be more effective than a country? The banks are more effective posting profit than a country. As it stands, Nigeria today is worse than a man owning a shop in somewhere in Day. Because even the man owning a shop in Day posts a profit. He will tell you the profit margin is small. Nigeria is in debt. 27.7 trillion we are going to pay. They are even thinking about collecting more debt. They have resorted to taxing private citizens. Now I just heard yesterday that in Lagos or one other state they introduced, even parking a car wrongly in your house, you pay tax. Thinking of every conceivable way of extorting money.
And that will change with the PDP.
We have to change and do the right thing. I give you an example. I travel a lot. You go to England, you do not need to do a COVID test. Whether you go in or you go out. All the countries of the world are opening up economy. Because these COVID measures were put in place, those COVID measures put in place affected economies. So when they quickly realized that this COVID has come to stay with us forever, we might as well open up our economy. Do you know in Nigeria, if you are not vaccinated, you will pay for day 2 test and day 7 test, about 70-something thousand, private citizen. You travel not on the government money. They still have to tax you. They don't even do a follow-up to know whether you actually took the test. The fact that you bring the money. We even ask the question further, where is the money going to? It comes down to the issue of there is nobody to call them to account, because if the National Assembly call, they will bluff them, call their bluff and go. So any government that does not post a profit, that government is a failure. I say that with every sense of responsibility.